I've already spoke to Jason, said do not rest me any game next year. Unless I really need to rest, I don't want to be resting the game. So I want to play every game of cricket that I can for Somerset and make sure that we can win games of cricket. And as a bowler, I just want to keep bowling. It's my job to play cricket, so I just want to play cricket.
Six needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
Hello there, this is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd. Joining me this afternoon, I've got the president of Somerset County Cricket Club, Peter Wanless. Peter, how are you going? How was your experience of that draw over the weekend?
Very, very good, thanks. It's hot. Marked contrast in temperature of the last county championship game I think we had, where we were absolutely freezing. But there we are. It was wonderful to be reunited with so many of my good friends from Warwickshire who enjoyed the T20 quarter-final in my company so much last year. And yeah, a pretty good time was had by all.
So what were they calling themselves this week? Just Warwickshire? Are they all the Bears?
Just
or the
Warwickshire
Bears,
this week. I mean, these are the traditional tendency of the huge delegation. They are the salt of the earth, fantastic county cricket stalwarts from Warwickshire. You know, lovely people. Actually, it was a pleasure to have their company through the 4 days, and a similar sort of rhythm of game where they were on top for quite a while, and then we came storming back. So yeah, it was fun.
Good stuff. Also with us this afternoon, I'm pleased to say we can see him live and in living colour, and hearing you in whatever the 2020 vision equivalent is of audio. It's the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony Gibson. Gibbo, how are you doing? I'm just going to need you, first of all, to repeat everything you said on last week's podcast that we didn't record before we get on to Warwickshire. Or maybe not.
I probably said that we weren't very good in T20 cricket, but it was a great win at Trent Bridge.
It was indeed.
It was a great result against Warwickshire as well, because at 148 for 6, 26 runs ahead with only the bowlers to come, we were in dire straits and staring defeat in the face, and I was making plans as to what I was going to do on the following day. Thomas Rue and Craig Overton changed all of that, and in the end, very good outcome.
Yeah, we'll just recap the match. Somerset won the toss, decided to bat first on what looked like it was going to be a typical Taunton surface from the last few seasons, a bit in it for the bowlers on the first morning, and then just getting flatter and flatter and flatter, which it proved to be the case. Again, runs coming on that third day, that Sunday, that incredible partnership between Thomas Rue and Craig Overton. And really going into day 4, there was a slight chance that we could get rolled over early, then Warwickshire would have been in the box seat, but as Jack Leach, what did he get? He got 20 odd. Just saw us long enough past the lunch. Well, no, virtually dead on the lunch break, wasn't it? Warwickshire then requiring a kind of a nominal 314 to win in around 60 overs, but never really in the chase. I mean, sending out Zen Malik, who's a bit of a Billy blocker, Rob Yates as well. They never really got going early on, and the match was abandoned as a draw with sort of rain and bad light kind of coming together towards the end of that 4th day. Can we start talking about Craig Overton? And can we go back in time? Because what I want you to do now, I'd like you to pause this podcast, pop onto YouTube, search up the Craig Overton Walkers and Talkers that he did earlier on in the year, and then come back to us. And if you don't want to do that, I'll briefly recap what Craig's winter was. He had a hernia operation, sort of early October. That ruled him out of the SA20. He got married, but got married as well. Found out he was going to be a dad as well. So all good news. Hardly any cricket over the winter for Craig Overton. He says at the Walkers and Talkers, as you'd have heard just before I put on the intro to this podcast, he said to Jason, I don't want to be rested. The more I bowl, the better I am, and I'm a cricketer, and I love playing cricket. words to those effect. And I think that has been the making of Craig Overton this season. Having that winter off, no SA20, no franchise cricket, just being able to purely get himself physically and mentally ready for 2026 has proven its worth. What was the stat from Steve Pittard, Gibbo? No cricketer is, if you add up the balls bowled and the balls faced.
No cricketer as a combination of balls faced and balls bowled. No cricketer in the county championship this season has been more involved than Craig Overton, other than, of course, wicket keepers. But no, it's fantastic. And the other thing about the winter, he told me he'd worked really hard on his batting, and corrected a couple of technical faults. One was tendency, a bit like Joe Root, to sort of tip over a bit too much to the offside. So he's been trying to say more leg side of the ball, and he's just a much better player. But yeah, he's fantastic. He's Somerset's warrior.
Absolutely.
He's a warrior chieftain.
You know what? That was the word I was going to use, and I just wonder about his batting improving as well, with not being able to bowl as much, and certainly being rehabbed with his bowling. I just wonder if he used that time to work on his batting. But maybe not being able to bowl. I'll ask him next time I see him whether that was the case. But
well, he was saying yesterday at the end that, you know, when he started when he was a schoolboy cricketer playing for North Devon and so on, he was a batsman who bowled a bit. You know, that was his predominant skill, and the bowling developed as the years went by, and maybe the batting went backwards, because if you look at his first class average over the seasons, it's not very good. He's a much better player than whatever it is, 23 and a half would suggest, and he showed that this season. But you know, the combination of that with his bowling, I mean, he bowled superbly in that spell when they were keeping runs down, were trying to prevent Warwickshire from getting away. He was getting it in the right areas, ball after ball after ball, very unhelpful conditions. And add all of that to his catching, you know, in the deep, in the blaster, in the slips, in county championship, and the way he leads by example in all forms. You know, the players really respond to him. He may not have Lewis Gregory's cricketing brain, but if you want a captain who's up and at 'em and is leading by example and is, as I said, a warrior chieftain, then Craig Overton's your man.
Yeah, difficult to argue with any of that, and only to add to it, I think maybe in some previous years we've talked about Overton and someone else. So Overton and Davey have been a great pairing, and Overton and Henry have been a great pairing, and this year it's kind of Overton plus others, isn't it? I mean, he's very much the lead of the attack, so he's not only carrying all that responsibility as captain for some of these games and playing long innings, he's also leading the bowling and taking a heavy load there. I should imagine he's exhausted.
He didn't look it.
No.
I think he's loving it.
I mean, I think
he loves
a lot of
cricket.
it. Yeah, if you enjoy playing cricket, and that's what you said. You know, I'm a professional cricketer. I'm paid to play cricket. I love playing cricket. I want to play more cricket. I want to play every game I can. I don't want to be preemptively rested. You know, if I am knackered, I will probably need somebody to give me a tap on the shoulder and said, Craig, your leg has fallen off and we need to sew it back on before you can play again. But I think, you know, a lot of it is meant. You know, a lot of it is in the head. If you're happy and you're enjoying yourself and you are enjoying your success, I think tiredness doesn't really come into it. You know, I always think like, you know, if you've got to get up at 4 a.m. to go on a holiday that you've been really looking forward to, you know, you're up and at 'em, you're up early, you're in the car, come on, let's go, the adrenaline's pumping. Whereas if you've got to get up at 4 a.m. to, I don't know, go and drive 4 hours to do your mother-in-law's roofing or something like that, do you know what I mean? Something you're dreading, you'll drag yourself out of bed. But you know that, and I don't think it's just Craig as well. The whole side seems to be in a really good place at the moment. They've just had, apart from Tom Banter, but with the championship side, we've just had 2 incredible results. One was only a draw, but you look at the personnel that we were missing. I mean, James Rew and Tom Abel. You take those out of any side in world cricket, not just the county championship, a T20 side, a 50 over side, even probably, yeah, any side in the world, that is a massive blow. No Lewis Gregory as well. It's no, I've lost count of how many injuries we've got. No Lammonby as well. TKC, although he came back, he didn't look ready. He was sort of being hidden in the field. He was a bit sketchy as well. He looked like he could have had he needed a knock or two, I think, to get himself back in rhythm. So to come out of those two games, two difficult games with a win and a draw, I think is just an absolutely tremendous effort. And I think, two of the best results that we've probably seen during the tenure of this year podcast.
Yeah, right. Thoroughly agree, completely agree.
If you'd been following our good friends on the Facebook supporters group, then we lost the game after half an hour on the first day. And so some people may be tuning in and surprised to learn that actually it turned out okay again.
It did turn out okay.
It was a curious decision to bat, though, when winning the toss.
Yeah,
it was.
Given the inexperience of some of our batsmen, the quality of the Warwickshire attack, and the fact that Ethan Bamber is known to swing it, and the conditions were perfect for swing bowling.
Well, he had them both on toast, didn't he? I mean, Jordan Herman's sort of 20-odd. That was
Jordan
5
Herman. I've never seen him look like a cat on hot bricks. He just hadn't got a clue what he was doing, and it was a very curious decision, especially as you said at the outset. It's about the way the Taunton pitch behaves, where it does a bit in the first session, and then it gradually gets flatter and flatter and flatter. And when I asked Jason about it, he said, well, we were hoping that it would turn on the fourth day and Jack Leach would come into it. But he's been saying that every home game this season, and it hasn't turned on the fourth day. And it's a real problem for us, because if we can't win home games in the county championship, we're going to win the championship. It's as simple as that.
Well, I did have a chuckle because I watched pretty much most of that Craig Overton interview because of just looking for those specific quotes to put up. And he did say that probably the way we're going to win the championship is to win our home games and not lose our away games. Well, the games we've won this season have been away, and we've lost and drawn at home. So, yeah, but I agree. I mean, there are some new surfaces being trialled at Taunton. If you go back and watch the live stream of the Warwickshire game just gone, have a look at the pitch to the Somerset stand side of it. It looks sort of a more darker grey colour, and that's the one that's one of the ones that got relayed, which they're hoping will have more pace and bounce and break up more towards the end of games. Fingers crossed. There's a rumour that may be trialled in a championship game towards the end of the season.
Surrey game.
The Surrey game. Fingers crossed. I mean, I agree. Very curious decision to bat first. I don't think they batted very well either. I mean, they said 208 was below par. Mind you, just sort of occurred to me, if they had gone on and maybe got 320, those extra overs that they batted, it would have meant the game was sort of even more of a ball draw and less chance of a result. So in a way, they did kind of give themselves a chance of getting a result by getting themselves bowled out so quickly, as it kind of sort of half turned out.
Yeah, well, that was the classic joke remark I was making to the Warwickshire guys, that we'd had 3 games where we'd had a 100-run lead, 2 of which we'd lost. So we thought we'd have a go at a 100-run deficit and win from there. And well, it wasn't quite to be.
Could have happened though. Bit more in the surface on that last couple of sessions on day 4. Who knows? Word of Lewis Goldsworthy as well. Thought he just batted the situation perfectly along with Thomas Rue on that first day, getting us up to a defendable total. And my man Josh Shaw in the runs again, 28 in the first innings, 20 odd as night watchman in the second innings. See, it's that form line. I'm off to the races in a minute, but yeah, the form line, South Devon to the county championship. It's a well.
He batted. He was very good at night watch.
He was.
I have to say, he did his job really well. He took it seriously. He took as much of the strike as he could on during the evening session. Came back and blocked it out the next morning, and it was both of them actually were important contributions. I just wish he was a better bowler.
He's got a pretty solid technique. I'm just trying to think
Yeah,
who
but he
reminds
bowls
me
at
of him.
least one bad ball and over.
Yeah, he's an uncomplicated biffer, isn't he? Not a slogger, but it's there. He's a big lad, and he'll give it umpty if it's in the slot. If it's in the arc, it's out the park.
Oh, what
With a hot
batting? He's
shot.
got very good technique, I think,
Yeah.
as a
Hmm.
batsman. It's his bowling that's the problem.
Well, where else then? Where else? What else can we talk about this game then? I think that was it, wasn't it? Anything else worth
Yeah,
talking about? Probably.
just one point of concern which came up at Trent Bridge as well, and that's Alfie Ogborn running on the pitch.
Yes.
He's been in it, and he gets in trouble straight away, and it obviously upsets him as it would do, and it upsets his rhythm, and then he ends up falling flat on his face trying to avoid running on the pitch. And it is something that really needs to be sorted out, because he's not going to become the bowler he could be with that albatross around his neck. And I hope that Steve Kirby is really working hard on that, so that the Alfie Ogborn we see towards the back end of the season doesn't get into trouble with the umpires and can run in completely uninhibitedly and give it his best shot, because he's very, very talented, as well as a very, very delightful young man.
Yeah, I mean, that was the reason he went off. It wasn't an injury, as you said, Gary. Just get him sort of frustrated and trying to work it out. I mean, he'll work it out. He's a switched on lad. He's working with good coaches. I mean, Jason Kerr and Steve Kirby, what they don't know about bowling probably not worth knowing. So I expect he'll get that sorted. But just immensely frustrating. But yeah, we do have another injury. Alfie came in as an injury replacement for Miguel Pretorius, who suffered a suspected torn pectoral bowling in the first innings. So Alfie came in. I think he went okay. There was a bit of a spell where they were sort of trying a bit of leg theory. Josh Thomas kind of quite tight round the corner, and he didn't quite look like he was sort of.
He got rid of Sam Hain, though. He got rid of Sam Hain. Absolute chaffer.
That was a cracker.
Arguably the crucial wicket of the whole game, because Hain looked nailed on for a century, as so often against us.
You look at, he's got a very, very good knack, great knack to be able to get good players out when they're set. Who was it? Who was the two he got in the over? Was it Joe Clark and Verena? Yeah, he cleaned up Asa Tribe as well in the pre-season game with an absolute jaffer. He's got something there. Definitely got something there. No, Gibbo, you were a bit keen to move on from Thomas Rue, who we haven't quite discussed yet, Gibbo.
Well, no, I mean Thomas Rue is he's a hugely talented young cricketer with a great head on his shoulders, terrific range of shots. He's mature beyond his years. He's not a bad wicket keeper. He'll get better, but he looks a more natural wicket keeper than his older brother. That might change as he grows a bit bigger, but for the moment he looks the more natural of the two brothers as a wicket keeper. And it was just a tremendous innings. I think he was helped enormously by the presence of Craig Overton at the other end. Just as a calming, almost a paternal figure at the other end. Craig said it was a really nice contrast between the two of them. Craig said little and large, and it was that. And they're very different styles of player, as well. But he's hugely talented. I just hope that he doesn't get promoted too quickly and thrust into the England setup too early. I think he just needs to learn his trade in the county game for 2 or 3 seasons, and then move up to a higher level. I'm sure he will go up to that higher level, but he's still got a lot to learn at 18. But the natural talent is absolutely limitless.
They won't both be able to keep wicket in September, will they? The Roos. It'll be interesting to see which way we go with that. I mean, obviously James took some criticism for his keeping in the Test match. It was lovely to see him there on Monday, cheering his little brother on, almost to 150, and I did feel for him, given the. Well, I didn't see that much of it, but some of the wayward bowling that was counted against him for byes, you can't help feeling that wouldn't have been the situation in the first test at Lords. He was dealt rather a sort of unlucky hand for one test, and of course he was only playing it because of a paternity leave, and now he goes back to the county game, and he'll come again. And I guess in the bigger picture, it's good for James not to have everything completely successful first time round over and over and over again. I remember when I failed my driving test the first time. It was a moment when I didn't believe I was ever going to fail at anything ever at all in my life, and that was just me. And James has had achievement upon achievement upon achievement in first class cricket, and he didn't do too badly at all actually for a first test against a really good team, as I say, with some strong bowling. But I wonder if he'll come back and decide, or it be decided, that he's going to concentrate absolutely on becoming an elite batter and leave the gloves to Thomas, or if he'll continue to keep for us. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is. He needs to learn how to play the short ball, James Rew. I mean, this is something that it's a weakness that's been obvious since he started, and it's something obviously that Matt Henry had spotted. But one or other of them has got to focus on being a specialist top order international batsman rather than being a wicket keeper. But which is the better batsman of the pair of them? It's hard to say at the moment. They've said they're so very different in the way they play their strokes. I mean, Thomas is very strong with the bottom hand, and James very much more conventional with the top hand and high right elbows is a left-hander. But I would find it easier to choose between them as wicket keepers at the moment, because as I say, I think Thomas looks the more natural one, than I would as batsman, because James has scored 12 centuries or whatever it is, so he's made his mark. But potentially, from what I've seen of Thomas, he is potentially as good as James. I wouldn't say he's necessarily going to be better, but he's certainly going to be as good in a different way. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. My bet is that it'll be Thomas who takes the gloves towards the end of the season, and James who is encouraged to specialise as become a number 4, or maybe even an opening batsman, because he's got the technique.
I think so too. One big tick for Thomas over the last couple of games is the runs that he's made were, the Somerset runs that you need to make as a middle order bat. They're coming in at 40 for 4 that James has done on so many occasions. Thomas has come in, last against Warwickshire, pressure virtually the whole season on his shoulders. Need to keep pace with the front runners in the county championship. So a lot riding on your innings, young Thomas. And even if he was feeling the pressure, he didn't show it.
He didn't seem to bother him at all. He just takes the game as he finds it at the moment, which is a wonderful attitude to have. Probably in 10 years' time it'll be rather different, but he should enjoy it while he can.
Pessimist, Gibbo, dearie me.
Well, no, we all get hardened and bruised by experience, don't we?
We do. Yeah. Again, can't speak highly enough of it. It was 127 last week at Trent Bridge. First 100 Taunton last week against Warwickshire. I think it almost seems kind of disrespectful to say that we've talked about them so much, Thomas and James, before they became established players in the side. You kind of run out of stuff to say when they are established players in the side, but just fantastic stroke play. Wasn't afraid to put the bad ball away. Didn't go into his shell. Kept positives. Sometimes if you are in that sort of situation, you kind of can be a little bit tentative. Think, if I make a mistake here, nick off. That could be the game. No, just completely backed himself, backed his technique, put the bad ball away, keep the ball ticking over. And as you said, Craig made the point as well about them sort of being little and large. It's a bit like a right-hander and a left-hander. You've got to keep adjusting your line to the righties and the lefties. For those two, you've got to keep pushing your length forward or pulling it back as a half volley to one. is a good length ball to the other.
Yeah.
So we now have a break. Championship cricket until what was it, the 20th of August, when we welcome Essex. I believe Don Topley is down for all 4 days of that game. So
Yeah.
Have to get him on the podcast.
Looking forward to welcoming Toppers to Taunton for the resumption of Championship cricket. Anything else on that game? I'm just quickly going through my notes. I was only up there on Saturday, but I thought they bowled bloody well that Saturday morning. There was hardly anything in the surface. They couldn't get the ball past the bat, but they just booked in on their lines and lates relentlessly. It was,
as they had done at Trent Bridge as well.
Yeah. So
Warwickshire had signed an Indian international spin bowler for 2 games, of which this was one, and they got their money's worth from him. He bowled 47 overs in the second innings, and I thought he bowled really well actually on the third day morning, and then I was thinking, oh, maybe if there is anything in this wicket at all and he gets something out of it, then that would be good news for Jack. But yeah, it wasn't quite enough. But clearly Warwickshire think they've got a chance because they're spending big bucks to bring people in for short periods of time, and they're right up there at the top of the table along with us and Notts and Glamorgan and just about everyone else.
Yeah, the county championship table is very congested. If I can find the table. Well, we're second. We're 5 points behind Warwickshire, and we're level. No, sorry, 5 points behind Notts and level with Warwickshire. So that just goes to show that, if we had lost, that'll be Warwickshire we'd be 16 points behind them, which is make-upable, but it's certainly a lot easier when you're only 5 points behind Notts. So we move then back to just one more thing on overseas. Obviously, Jordan Herman is now he's probably on a plane back to South Africa as we speak. Would you have him back for the run-in? I think I would.
Yes, definitely.
Even with everybody available.
Yeah. Have him opening the batting. Probably with TKC.
Oh, TKC, not Josh Thomas.
I think one left-handed opening batter is enough. And the opposition bowlers don't like TKC opening, and he comes down the pitch at them. He's a bit of an X factor to him. If he's
I think he was.
You've got Lammonby coming in at 3, who's converted opening bat. So if it doesn't come off, then it's not the end of the world.
I mean, we've got them all to fit in. I mean, I think
we've got to play attacking cricket in the autumn, late summer.
I just think with TKC, his hands are just too hard. He just goes out at the ball. I think it was fine with the cooker. I don't know. I'd like him down the bottom order and maybe have
end of season pitches, and the pitches are getting tired. It is
slow. Yeah.
I'd have him opening the batting all the time.
Well, Harry Hayden is kind of preemptively. But we've got about 2 months to our next championship game. Harry's keen to get his lineup going. He's having Jordan Herman back. He's writing the cheque to get Jordan back over from South Africa. Then TKC Banton, maybe not, if we've heard that he's focusing on white ball cricket, or Thomas. Lammonby or Goldsworthy at 3, James Rue, Abel, Thomas Rue, Smead or Vaughan at 7, Overton, Gregory, Leach, and then Pretorius, Jake Ball or Alfie.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the blueprint that they're going to go for.
I'd look to see what the sort of form lines are with Smead and Vaughan. At the moment, I don't think there's much to choose between them.
No,
if Vaughan gets runs in the Metrobank, then that he would be my preference. On the other hand, Smead is probably the more, I don't know, he's the more potentially destructive of the two of them. As long as he can find a way to play red ball cricket, which he seemed to be moving towards when he damaged his hand.
Injury just came at the wrong time, and then you also got Vaughan's off spin to factor in as well. So as you say, those pitches start turning.
You probably wouldn't play. You probably wouldn't play TKC and Smead, and you probably wouldn't play Goldsworthy and Vaughan. But one of each of those styles gives you a nice balanced team, I think.
Without a doubt. Well, speaking of balanced teams, we've got to pick one for Friday night. So the T20 Blast resumes. The Gloucesters are visiting the Cooper Associates County Ground. The 2025 champions taking on the 2024 champions. How do we see this one going? Somerset, I think, will be desperate to, first of all, win the toss and chase. All four of their defeats that came in a row came defending. But we have got some personnel back. We've got TKC back. We've got Smead back. There'll be no Abel, no Gregory. We've got the Ruse. So I'm just going to try and quickly scribble down my team, which I should have done.
Anton and Smead had a nice run out at Taunton Vale yesterday, smacking it all over the place. So that's your opening partnership.
Yeah, TKC at 3.
Yeah.
James Rood, Thomas Rood. I'm leaving 6 blank for a minute.
I'd have Lamb being, I think, if he's fit.
Yeah.
He's fit for
Overton, Sams, Goldsworthy.
Goldsworthy rather than Thomas?
I think so. Meredith. Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back. Riley Meredith and Jake Ball or Josh Shaw at 11. So that leaves what? Yeah, Lammerby at 6.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw Anthony pull a face at Ball Shaw. I mean, we're still a bit scarred, aren't we? We haven't got the bowl. Well, we will have Meredith this time at the end of the innings, but we have been sorely lacking death bowling, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just trying to think if I missed anyone. I don't think I have. Yeah, Banton, Smead, Calder Cadmore, the 2 Roos, Lammerby at 6, Overton, Sams, maybe either way round for there. Likewise, Goldsworthy. So your 7, 8, 9 could really bat in any order, and then Meredith and Ball or Shaw or Alfie. So I thought did bowl quite tidy against Warwickshire till his last over got taken down a wee bit. I mean, we need.
Yeah, it's a good side. It's not as good as it would be with Tom Abel and Lewis Gregory in it. But
No.
You'd have thought that we'd got enough to beat the Gloucesters, but the Gloucesters are pretty good too. They'll have a different overseas, though, won't they? They've got an Australian all-rounder. I think Dwan Janssen has gone back to South Africa, which is a bit of a relief because he's rather good.
Yeah, he had us on toast up at the Unique Seat Stadium, didn't he? Well, most of their bowlers had us on toast up at.
Well, yeah, but he was particularly nasty.
I mean, it was quite galling because we were sort of all chuckling, they've lost all their bowlers, and then David Payne's injured, and then all of a sudden they managed to do some incredibly good business. And yeah, like you say.
Well, Matt Taylor was bloody good as well.
Matt Taylor, yes.
And it was a fantastic pitch at Bristol. That's the other thing to say. I mean, it's just a complete transformation. It had pace and bounce. The Gloucesters were very, very good, and we were very, very bad. So we've got to turn that around.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had a change of format and a change of fortune going from the T20. Actually, no, we don't want a change of fortune. We want a change of format, but the same fortune carrying on from the Championship into the Blast over the next few rounds. And we've got some, they're all tough games. We've got Gloucester, and then we've got
Worcester
on Sunday. And then my calendar runs out of June. Worcester, we got to play Northants twice. We got Derbyshire
away,
and Worcester again.
It's going to be a tricky game going to Derbyshire away because that was supposed to be the easy game that balances out playing this what should be the number 2 seeds. So effectively, we're supposed to play the best team we could and the worst team we could, and Derbyshire having a pretty good time of it in the Blast. But yeah, Northants are
flying
decent nick as well, so it is going to be tough. I mean, we've got to win 4 at least, you would think.
And presumably we're not going to have Banton for more than probably just the first game. Maybe the first game at the
First two.
He's doesn't seem very keen on playing for us anyway, so he'd probably play on Friday, and I suspect then we won't see him because he's with England on the 1st.
Yeah,
He
those
should be able to play Sunday, shouldn't he?
Well, if he fancies it.
So.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't showed much enthusiasm recently.
You'd have thought so. I do hope there's nothing sinister going on there.
Well,
I know we like to speculate wildly.
The number of injuries that we've got, when we're absolutely, we barely put 11 fit players out on the field. And then Banton decides he doesn't want to play red ball cricket. He doesn't want to play these 2 games. It's his decision, which the club went along with, which I found a bit surprising as well. And I just don't think I don't know what's going on with his contract negotiations or anything like that, but I think a lot of Somerset supporters will think it's a pretty poor show that when your county really needs you, you decide you can't be bothered to play red ball cricket.
I mean, what did Jason's words when he asked him? He's making the decision to prioritise white ball cricket. Well, that's all well and good, but as far as I'm aware, it's still Jamie Cox signing your cheques.
Exactly, and he's under contract for all forms as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I do think Yeah, I mean, I hope there's no kind of, I wouldn't say ugliness on Friday night. I would, but it's.
Well, I think the club are pretty pissed off about it, to use the technical phrase.
Well, I would be too. I mean, it's, like I say, if your club needs you, your employer needs you, and there's not that much, Everybody says, since I played more red ball cricket, Will Smead, it's, for example, it's improved my white ball cricket no end, and it's a very strange one, and the lack of. I suppose they say what they can say, I guess, and if there are negotiations ongoing, neither side will particularly want to prejudice those by making statements that are outlandish and unhelpful. Peter, is there anything?
I'd only say I think there was a lot of disappointment around the ground that he wasn't playing in that Warwickshire game, because he has been a much loved and very important part of our squad in all formats, particularly the last season. So there is, I think it's important to acknowledge that disappointment. If he's prioritising white ball cricket, I would hope that he'd be available for at least the 2 games we've got this weekend. But yeah, let's see. I mean, he's a star performer in our T20 team.
Well, yeah,
continues to be.
He looked like he was batting on a different pitch to the rest of them, apart from Kieran Carlson up at Cardiff. He was smacking him in the taff and onto the Cathedral Road, and then nobody else could really get him off the square. So he is a fantastic player, and whatever's happened, I hope that something can be worked out that suits both parties and keeps him playing cricket with Somerset, because he's been a vital part of our, the last 3 trophies that we've won. Tom Banton has been a massive part of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Probably the one who's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, but did he got 100 in the semi-final of the 2019
quarter-final?
The quarter-final, what at Worcester as it got.
But he batted very, very well at Trent Bridge as well, and he batted very well in the final, got us off to a good start. So I mean, I've been a huge supporter of Tom Banton over the years, and which made it even more disappointing, the fact that that he didn't make himself available to play these last 2 county championship games when his county really needed him. And there may be more to it than meets the eye. I don't know, and I profoundly hope he carries on playing for Somerset for many years to come. But it's been a sad little sort of hiatus in his relationship with Somerset.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe he saw me keeping wicket for Somerset in Lewis Gregory's testimonial game. Thought, that's it. My place as T20 wicketkeeper has been usurped. Probably not. Anything more then? Martin, I phoned Martin. Injury updates. Well, I think Abel's probably the only one who's a bit more long term now. Like Lewis, be out for a little while. Obviously, got Miguel Pretorius.
Lewis was jogging up and down in the outfield yesterday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I was, and without any obvious sign of an obvious bandage on his left thigh either.
Oh.
And not just jogging, but not quite sprinting, but sort of halfway between a jog and a sprint. And he looks not very far away from being fit. I don't think he'll be fit for this weekend, but he may not be out for quite as long as we feared he might be after he tore his hamstring at
are in desperate need of some good news with regards to injuries. So fingers crossed that is the case, and Lewis is back ahead of schedule. And with regard to the heat wave, so will we need cider hydration breaks on Friday? To which Nicky King has replied, "Hydration breaks."
Yeah, very good.
Is what we need. So there's somebody in the.
I'll pinch that. Yeah.
Well, I expect somebody in the Thatcher's marketing department is probably scrawling up, getting AI to generate something to that effect. But yeah, we all enjoy a hydration break. But yes, drink responsibly.
In the Wanless household, we can't watch a World Cup football match without, at the moment that they break for the drinks, shouting to one another, and that completes the power play. So I think there should be cider after 6 overs.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Well, I'm sure we've all played in friendly games and touring team games where the drinks are the roughest scrumpy you can imagine, being brought out with bits of dead wasp floating in them, anything like that. We are done with listeners' questions. I think I'm done with everything else needed to be discussed.
The women won in Yorkshire and qualified for the T20 quarterfinals. So
it was at Scarborough, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we saw they put that on the scoreboard a couple of times to interrupt the men's game, but it looked very, very misty. I think they must have had sea frets or something, but through the mist you could just about see that the women won again, which was fantastic. So I think if we believe Dan, we're away to Hampshire in the quarterfinals.
Excellent. That's the county cup, isn't it?
That's the cup, isn't it? That's the knockout one. But we've got a blast game coming up on Friday against Durham.
Yes, it is a double header on Friday. So it's Durham in the afternoon, followed by the Gloucesters in the evening. I won't be there, unfortunately. My wife is going to watch Alanis Morissette at Powderham Castle, which means I've got to ferry the kids around to all their various classes and stuff on Friday night. But I will be there on the live stream, tuning in. According to Cricinfo, that game didn't take place between Somerset women and Yorkshire women on Sunday, but I know we batted first. We got about 180, didn't we? And then
we won by 9 runs.
Yeah,
Neve Holland starred.
Neve Holland, she has improved leaps and bounds as a cricketer. She's coming back from injury last year, just sort of finding a way in 2025. Christ, she's a hell of a cricketer now.
I think they've done really well, Somerset women, considering what a young team they are. I mean, there's only Sophie Luff who really has any sort of long-term experience, and the rest of them in their late teens, early 20s. And they, considering where they were this time last year, and compare that with where they are now, it's fantastic improvement. And I think Erin Osborne deserves a huge amount of credit for the way she's turned it around.
Absolutely,
it's a real success story.
We were having a bit of a chat in the press box with what to do with the women's team when sort of all the top players go off to the 100. You're left with kind of quite a decent chunk of players with nothing to do. So my idea was, why don't you take the best players that are playing for Somerset, the best players that are playing for Gloucester, the best players that are playing for Glamorgan, and then you could do that with like maybe a load of other counties as well. And then you could sort of group them into regions and then kind of give them regional nicknames, and they could all play each other in some sort of league, which you could call it super. I don't know, some sort of super league.
Well, we did pretty well in that, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, all joking aside, I mean, why not?
Well, it suits me as well because, I've got loyalty to Somerset and Gloucestershire and Wales. So
yeah, resurrect the old KSL franchises, Western Storm and all those.
Yeah.
Pull up all the players who aren't played in the 100 and play a competition. What's not to like? I'd like to get Dan's thoughts on that. So I'm sure he'd have it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, to give me the thumbs up. Right, do we have any other business then before we knock it on the head for another week?
No, don't think so.
No.
All good then. Right, best of luck to.
Tell you say one thing. It's been a very good first half of the season. We're just about halfway through the season now.
Yes.
And, all right, we haven't done as well in the Blast as we might have done, but we're still in the hunt in that. And in the County Championship, for my money, we've outperformed my expectations. And if where we are now, we're poised to do really well in the second half of the season, the second half of the Blast and the second half of the County Championship. And I think the club, taken all in all, is in a very good place at the moment.
I think so too. If you look at what we've got, all the players to come back in.
Exactly.
On paper, and I hate saying things like this. On paper, you would say that probably the second half of the season is slightly easier than the first, although that's never. Don't count your chickens until they've hatched and all that. But yeah, everyone's got to be coming back. Hopefully, everybody's fit. Fingers crossed for a good second half of the Championship season.
Dan had a statistic at the start of the season that Somerset had won only one of their previous 16 away games in the County Championship, and we'd gone longer than any other county, apart from Northants, I think it was, since we'd last had an away win. And then we go and win away at Notts, away at Essex, away at Hampshire, and we should have won away at Glamorgan. So if we could, crack the Taunton wicket conundrum at home, then who knows what might be possible.
Well, I got ahead of myself. I did have a look at the scoring rates for pitches at Taunton over the last season and a bit, and the one that we just played on was the second slowest. Runs across that match just gone against Warwickshire scored at 2.98 runs per over. The only other one that was slower was Hampshire in September last year, where we got 400 and plenty, and then they were just basically blocking it out for the draw for the rest of the game. So that was 2.91. But runs at Taunton scored at an average of 3.3 runs per over in Championship cricket over the last.
It's the ECB pitch guidelines the problem. That they say you're going to, if it's spinning on days 1 and 2, it's going to be marked below average, and you're in line for a penalty. If it's not spinning a bit on days 1 and 2, it isn't going to spin on days 3 and 4. That is the problem.
Here's a trivia
unless
question
we can produce pitches that do spin on days 3 and 4, we're not going to win home county championship matches.
Which pitch were runs scored at the fastest rate on since last April? Have a think.
The Oval?
No, sorry. In which game? In which Championship game at Taunton since the start of April last year were the runs scored fastest on?
Well, it's probably the Kookaburra Ball game against Notts last year.
No, 3.62. No, this one is a right statistical outlier.
The Worcester game, the first where Banton got all his.
No, that was one of the slowest actually. That were 3.31. Come on, once you get it, you go, oh yes.
The Durham game?
The Durham game.
Oh yeah.
The worst pitch Lord Botham has ever seen. Runs were scored at 4.29 per over. So there we go.
Well, that's because Durham just threw all their shots at the pram.
Exactly. Well, yeah, look at that. 145 all out in 30 overs. They played some terrible shots. Steve has just popped a question in this very second, so I feel like we need to quickly answer Steve's question. Would you have Matt Henry back?
Probably not. No, I think. But I think he's probably shot his bolt for this summer.
You reckon
Would be
so?
instead of Herman, would it?
Well, no,
or Pretorius to be injured and.
Well, do you just write a blank check to get Herman and Matt Henry and Pretorius all in the same squad? Because are we going to have a better chance at the Championship in the next few years. A lot of things have gone right for us this year. A lot of things have gone tits up for us this year, and we're still in the hunt. You know, a lot. Yeah, we could
Trouble with
quite
fast bowlers is, they get injured.
exactly. So sign another one.
I'll tell you what,
Henry.
if someone else signed Matt Henry, we'd be really angry, wouldn't
We would.
We would.
Absolutely, we
Well,
would.
Maybe, I don't know, thinking about it, if we're going to win the county championship, we've got to win games of cricket. If we're going to win games of cricket, we've got to bowl the other side out twice. So I think probably the answer should be yes, we would have Matt Henry back.
Okay, and Steve's going on again. Is Gibbo going to encourage Somerset to get that Sunday afternoon leg bye credited to Thomas Rue?
Thomas Rue for his 150, yeah.
Prescient commentary at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I must admit I didn't catch that. Was there a leg bye?
It was signalled leg by David Mills. But Nigel Long at square leg signalled to David Mills that there was a run involved, and they had quite a sort of long distance exchange of gesticulating, what have you. And in the end, David Mills effectively waved him away and said, "No, I'm sticking with my leg bye."
All right.
But Nigel Long was insistent it was a run, and if it had been a run, then he'd have got 150 instead of not. And I said on commentary at the time, I hope he's not out for 99. And it turned out he was out for 149. So he missed out on his 150.
Well, I'm sure it will not be any way detrimental to his future success, which looks pretty much inevitable at the minute. Right, I need to get off to Newton Races tonight. It's going to be a hot one. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Cheers, Chips.
Cheers, everyone. Right, stop.